In today's video, I'm going to be giving you 5 reasons why I love my X3 M40. What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. So before I get started, I just want to say a couple things. So obviously X3s are going to vary a lot based on the packages and the different boxes you check when buying the car. So just keep that in mind during this video. Also, although I'm going to be going through 5 things, none of these are in any particular order. They're just 5 random things that I love about it. With that said, let's get into it. So this is probably pretty obvious, but number 1 is performance. So since this is an X3 M40, which you can tell by the bigger exhaust on each side, and then obviously this M40 badge with a whole bunch of other M40 badges along the car, that means that this X3 has the B58 engine from BMW. If you didn't know already, this engine is featured in a whole bunch of other BMW cars, such as the 440, the M340, and even the Toyota Supra, which some people might argue is also a BMW car, but anyways, that's not the point of this video. So with this B58, this X3 produces about 350 horsepower and about 360 pound-feet of torque. Definitely very solid numbers for an SUV. So with all that power, that means this thing is fast. But not only is it fast, it honestly handles really well. Again, you have to keep in mind this is an SUV. And then lastly, it also sounds amazing. So not only is it fast and it sounds amazing, but it also looks the part. This thing, although it's an SUV, it's a good size, it has good proportions, and overall it looks sleek and aggressive at the same time, but it doesn't look like it's too much. One of my favorite angles personally is actually this rear quarter. Those taillights, also that diffuser, just looks really good on the car. Now obviously there is an X3M, which is even crazier. It's obviously the M version of this SUV, and it performs better, it's faster, and it's probably even better looking, but I still don't think that takes away from how incredible this SUV is. So number 2 is the ambient lighting. Although this is a sporty SUV, it's definitely fast and aggressive. It also feels very luxurious. The ambient lighting definitely helps add to that as well. So the car has ambient lighting which goes all throughout the front, as well as the rear, and also the footwells as well. Obviously you can see it a lot better at night, but I'll probably show you guys a couple clips of that. It looks really good and just adds an extra layer of the luxury in this car. Gives like a cool ambiance and just overall makes the car feel more expensive. You also have a lot of options when it comes to the color of the ambient lighting. So if you go into my vehicle, so as you guys can see here, you have everything from bronze, orange, which I don't really know how different that is from bronze, white, blue, green, lilac, and then pretty much all of those colors. You also have the option of combining it with white, which looks really good. Personally, my favorite color is orange because it feels classic BMW. Ambient lighting is one of those things that's becoming increasingly common in modern cars, especially more luxurious cars like BMWs, Mercedes, Audis. So it's really not that special that this X3 has it, but regardless, I love it. It's one of the reasons why I love this car, so I'm putting it on my list. So number 3 on my list is the trunk. Now, obviously this is an SUV. It's supposed to be practical. I mean, that's why you get an SUV, right? But the trunk on this thing, for many reasons, is honestly amazing. By the way, if you're enjoying the video, if you like it, make sure you drop me a like down below. Also drop me a comment, let me know what you guys would add to the list, or maybe even what you would take away. But anyways, with that said, let's get back to the video. So like I said, there's a lot of cool things about the trunk of this car, which sounds funny. But anyways, one of them is if you have the key in your pocket, or even just close by, and you approach the trunk and you just kind of kick your foot, the trunk will open up just like that, which seems like a corny feature, and I know a lot of cars have it, but honestly, having an SUV, going to places like Costco, it is actually a super useful feature. So another cool thing about the trunk is it actually has this shade over here, which you can pull over here and then just sort of like cover the trunk. Now, I don't know if this is just me, but I've seen this a lot in hatchbacks and cars like that, but I've never actually seen it in an SUV. So it's pretty cool if you want to hide what's in your trunk. Let's say you have something expensive or personal and you want to hide it, you can definitely do so. Obviously the rear windows on this SUV are tinted like most SUVs, but it doesn't mean it's like limo tint. So if somebody really wanted to, they can still put their hands on the glass and see through it, see what you have in there, and maybe smash your glass and take it, whatever it is. So although it wouldn't be too bad if you didn't have that shade, I think having it just makes it even better. And then yeah, obviously you can just like fold it away like that and just let it go, and obviously have like full access if you need to put something tall in there. So something else that's really cool about this trunk is, let's say you guys want to put something long in there and you need to fold the rear seats, you can easily do that in this trunk. So if you guys pull on this lever over here, it'll drop the rear seats. So I know what you're thinking, every car you can pretty much do that, at least most cars. So it's really nothing special, but the cool thing about this X3 is it'll actually do it automatically. So as soon as you pull that lever, it'll literally go all the way down. Unlike with a lot of cars, when you pull that lever, it basically just unlocks the rear seat, and then you have to reach over and push it down. So that was one side. If you want to do the other side, it's right over here, so the same lever except just on the other side. You pull it, and it goes all the way down. So now again, I know what you're thinking. You put down the seats, you want to put something large in here, but this shade that I was speaking so highly of is now in the way. Well, just like most trunk shades, BMW did think about that. So what you can do is there's a button over here, you just press on that, it releases it over here, and you can easily just slide it away. You can then just obviously place it on the side, put it in your garage, whatever you need to do, and then you have full access to the trunk over here. And I should probably add, it's a pretty large trunk. I mean, I'm 6'2", and I can literally just sleep in here like a bed. So obviously it's not the largest SUV out there, but it's still a pretty good size. Anyways, I should probably get up because I think the neighbors are looking at me funny. So the next one on my list is actually gonna seem pretty funny because I've just been raving about how well this SUV performs, how good it looks, and how sporty it is. But number 4 on my list is Eco Mode. So although yes, this is a sporty SUV, it's fun to drive, it's fast, it's fun to push to its limits. At the end of the day, it is still a practical SUV. So Eco Pro mode on this car is amazing. It helps me save money on gas. If I'm not going fast, I might as well save gas or something like that. So down here by this shifter, you have comfort mode, which it's already in. You have sport mode, and then you also have eco mode. So if you press on eco mode, over here it'll pop up, and if you guys notice, there's 2 options. So you have standard, which is just like the default eco mode, but then you also have individual. So you can kind of configure it and make it more to your personal preference. So for example, you can turn on speed warning, which then makes the car give you a little ping whenever you reach a certain speed. So let's say you want to make sure you don't go over 80 miles per hour. But then what I like more is over here they have Eco Pro functions. So you have coasting, which is an amazing feature. If you guys didn't know, the transmission in this car can basically disengage while you're driving, and the car can just go into straight up coast mode. And then what's pretty cool is then once you go into coast mode, the car will basically let you know how many miles you've been coasting for. So it'll actually let you know how much you've really saved. And then this part is my favorite part. So as you guys can see, the steering, I have it set to sport. So as you probably know, all modern BMWs unfortunately have electric powered steering. But the good thing is when you put these cars into sport mode, the steering wheel does electronically stiffen up, and it kind of gives you more of that old school steering feel. But the nice thing about this eco mode is you can still keep the car in eco mode, save gas, and then also you can have that sporty steering. Alright, so number 5 on my list is actually the back seat in this SUV. But similar to the trunk and everything else, there's a couple things that I like about it specifically. Let me show you guys. So obviously being an SUV, the back seat is really important, and honestly guys, like, I think it's really good. So this right now is set to how I normally drive. Once again, I'm about like 6'2", so that's how I drive, and I still have a good amount of legroom over here. Nothing too crazy, obviously there are bigger SUVs out there, but still pretty good. So not only that, but you can actually recline the seats back here, which I really like because I'm kind of notorious for slouching. Probably work on that, but anyways, right now the seats are very upright, but you can lean them back a little bit by pulling this lever over here and then basically just leaning backwards. So as you guys can tell, pretty good amount. So this will give you an idea of how the seat normally is, and then this over here is how much it leaned back. Something else I really like about this back seat is actually the window. So in a lot of SUVs, when you bring the window down, the window will kind of stop like right over here, sort of at like an awkward point, and it makes it hard to put your arm out the window. So if you roll down the window over here, you'll see that the whole window goes down literally all the way. You can't see any of the glass, meaning whoever's sitting back here can easily put their arm out the window, which sounds stupid, but honestly I do it all the time. So I actually find it really annoying when you can't bring a window down. So I know in the beginning of the video I said 5 things, but I actually have a 6th thing that I want to tell you guys. Honestly, I can go all day about this SUV. I absolutely love it. So even keeping it down to 6 was difficult, but let me just show you guys. So number 6 would be the Insignias. I think that's what you call it. Sort of like badges throughout the SUV. So once you first open it up, obviously you get the M40 badge over here. You get M40 right there on the dash. You also get an M badge over here. And then not only M badges, you get a whole bunch of like X badges. So obviously X representing the SUVs for BMW. For example, one over here, which is actually really interesting because you'll only see it once the door is open, because once it's closed, it's going to be hidden behind that piece over there. So if you guys can tell, there it is. And there it goes. Something else that's funny about that Insignia is they also include it on the rear door over here in a very similar spot to the front door. But with this one, when you close the door, you can still see it. It's funny that BMW added that. Honestly, you only see when the door is open, and then it's somewhere that people don't really look at. But it gets even funnier because there's one that's even more hidden on these cars. So to see this one, you actually have to open up both doors. So this front one over here, and then the one in the rear. Now with both of those doors open, you guys can see over here, it says X3. It's sort of like engraved, so it might be a little hard to see, but I promise you guys it is there. Yeah, then like I said, if you close the doors, you won't be able to see it. Alright guys, so that pretty much wraps up this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you drop me a like, drop me a comment, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'll be making a video about 5 things that I hate about this SUV. It's gonna be tough coming up with them because overall I love it. So stay tuned for that video. Anyways, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.